Team, thank you so much. This is a moment for us not only to learn a lot from Patrick, but also to celebrate the end of this year. I scheduled this session for specifically or initially for the SEs in App Dynamics for Latin America, but I extended this invitation for all other SEs organizations in Latam and US. I think there will also be a friend from Canada. So it is an opportunity for us to learn something new, to share some experiences in this amazing area of sales engineering. And I was lucky enough to find this guy called Patrick Pissang when I was searching for something to give to my team by the last Christmas. I was looking for a book. I said, I wanna send a gift that represents their career, the skills they need to develop, and etc. And I found one of the books, which is called Social Sales Engineer. Okay, and then I said, okay, nothing better than bring Patrick to a good conversation with us to talk about the book, to talk about the sales engineer career path, and much more. Okay, and we were lucky because he accepted this invitation not only once but twice. But the only problem is that the first time we were not able to execute. So, Patrick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm Patrick. No, I'm Patrick. I worked a long time in middleware as a sales engineer until this point in time where I said, okay, I want to write novels, actually, fiction novels. So I write fantasy, lit RPG, science fiction stuff in German. And also, then was the point of time where I got contacted from organizations if I couldn't train their teams. And this was in 2018, so 4 years ago. When I then started training also sales engineers and write about the topic of sales engineering, and that really took off and became a passion. So around this, I founded my company, which is Sales Hero, and I continued writing the non-fiction books. Yeah, so that's about me. I'm 41 now. Gosh, I have 2 kids. I'm married. I live in Germany, Bavaria. We had some snow. It disappeared right now again. So I love snowboarding and stuff. Yeah, and I love writing. And I'm very thankful to be here, Cleber, that you tried it again and that we made it happen the second time. So that's really cool.
Perfect, Patrick. So for the one that wants to connect with Patrick, here's the QR code, and you will learn a lot more about him via LinkedIn. We also have a link to his Sales Hero training. The agenda. So the welcome, as we are doing right now, and then I will share a link to Slido. So if you have questions, you can use Slido to post the questions while we have this conversation. Then we will start talking with Patrick about his inspiration, the social sales engineer role and the social sales engineer book, sales engineering challenges and career path, and the future of sales engineering. And then we can open for questions. I think we can also have a few questions during the session. We just need to be careful with the time that it will take. And by the end of this session, we will have an award for the most active participant or the most interesting question. The award will be a book. Okay? Good. So the Slido. If you go to slido.com, you have a code, event code 2762888, and the password is there. Or you can simply scan the QR code to go straight to Slido. Okay? But feel free to, so if you want to use the platform, go ahead, use Slido. If you want to jump in and have your question, feel free. What else? One thing to mention, Patrick, we have here with us 2 guys that are doing their best to strengthen our community, our DevOps and SRE community, to talk about full stack observability. which are Rafael Gomez and Ulises Martinez. They are kind of community managers for us. So they are very interested to know more about this whole thing about social sales engineering, how to create communities and etc. And I think we'll have questions about it. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm only here for you. So that's really fine.
Perfect.
Great.
So I will stop sharing my screen. I think Orlando just joined us. I will ask the team to keep their phone on mute if they are not talking, so we can listen to Patrick clearly. And if you wanna focus, change the layout of your WebEx to focus on who is speaking, would be nice because Patrick will share a few kind of slides or images like the way he's doing right now. Okay. So good. Patrick, so we had an introduction about you, but you could get started and tell us how you get inspiration for the things that you are doing for this uh, uh, approach that you have for sales engineering. The floor is yours.
Okay, good. Before I get onto this question, I know all your questions. Let me get them in a different order, okay?
Okay.
Just let me start and see, jump in every time if you have a question or something to say. Very open to that. Let's use the slides to guide this. So you read the book, right? The Social Sales Engineer. Who's gotten more interactive on social media? Has anybody started a career? I've heard community managers, so you're trying to assemble people, get them active.
We're
Inspired.
we totally inspired. We already start the community. At the same time, we got the book, so we have some parallels. I mean, the importance of social media today, and it's not all about sell. In my humble opinion, we need to do something more. So part of this daily activity working at Cisco. We also try to find some times to create a community, share our knowledge, and share everything that we have as an information, and try to, publish at the community, at the Cisco Full Stack Observability community, to not only, share our knowledge, but also looking for some new opportunities, and try to engage more customers for our pitch for what we do. It kind of evangelist. It's what we are trying to do at the community.
Okay, that's cool. And with this, you're really a step ahead to, I would say, other sales engineers in the realm, right? Or in the market. This is really not invented by me. A lot of people feel forced from their companies to become more social, right? To go on LinkedIn, be visible. They feel it more like a fine or like a punishment to do that, right? But it doesn't need to, right? Because, and I love this quote from Mark Twain, right? It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And this is really going into what's happening in the sales engineering world. So especially long-term sales engineers don't look maybe into LinkedIn and communities and everything that happens and changes right now. And I would give you an insight on what are the trends right now in the sales engineering land. So what is happening there? Okay, just to start the conversation there. And I think it's 3 transformations, right? And why did I spot them? Because I'm maintaining this map here, right? Every month, over a year, I skipped it for now. So the last month I didn't do it, but I did it for over a year, maintaining this map, and it grew quite heavily. And on there are every sales engineering application that is out there currently in the market. So that's why I updated it every month, because more and more stuff came out. Like it's books, right? It's applications, it's communities, it's social media, so new podcasts, right? New live streams, right? New blogs, whatever, and even recruitment companies that are spot on this, right? What this means for you, that every sales engineer out there right now is becoming more proficient because they have access to information that wasn't there before. From my perspective, it started with when COVID started. There was a huge uptake on information and knowledge out there, right? Immediately, so in this point of time, there was John Kerr really becoming famous. Chris White came into the market, right, with the 6 Habits. So everything changed for a lot of people, and Presales Collective came in. Everybody had access to information. What does it mean to the normal sales engineer, normal in quotes, or experienced sales engineer? There's more competition. And that's what really is happening here. So the first transformation is competition through communities, very specialized training for sales engineers, and yeah, people just leveling their skills, right? That's point one. So it's actually tougher to sell. What's transformation number 2? Like I said it before, on the map, there are a lot of new apps that help you do your job. Do you have sales engineering apps in your organization?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have applications to guide the work that we do.
Yeah. So for RFP and for demos and.
Yes, we have the CRM thing to capture the tasks, the customer interactions, the proof of values, and then we have tools for demo customization.
RFP.io also.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. And what does it help you to do? So if you have this apps in, what's the result for you? What does it mean for your daily life? So in the best case.
What is you get?
I don't know if I get the question right. Yeah, what it means, the use of the tools in our daily basis, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we will have different tools. So, but sometimes the tools that we need to record our tasks, our opportunities. Sometimes it's getting, I don't know if it's difficult, but it's getting sometimes hard work to be disciplined with these tools, right? So in my case, of course, Cleber is laughing. This is something that we need to maybe struggle with this. But
okay,
at the same time, we have another very cool stuff to do our job, and we love other tools. For example, the Monkey, amazing. It's really simple tool. It's amazing.
I would simplify saying they hate it. They hate to add all the data into a few tools. Not all the tools, but the ones that we need to track activities on daily basis. People hate it, but we need to do that, right?
Not all, but I mean, like 90% of the tools, maybe.
You hate 90% or?
No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's important. I mean, I understand it's important to measure the productivity. I mean, we need to have some business scorecards. I mean, how effective and how productive we are being. It's a good tool for us also to show the value of everything that we do daily.
Exactly. It secures your salary, right? It secures your salary.
Not mine, probably.
Okay, good. And there's something else it should actually do. It should give you time, right? It's actually the end of chores. Yeah. So RFPs get easier, POCs get easier, demos get easier because they get automated, right? So what this means that every company who uses those tools gives time back to SEs. And the question is a bit, how do they use this time, right? In the best case, they do it to differentiate, right? And that's what SEs do. When you look at LinkedIn, for example, there are a lot of sales engineers who just try to differentiate themselves by sharing their point of view, their knowledge about product, right? It doesn't need to be where they work or the company's knowledge. It's really themselves talking about their insights. And the other thing is, and that's really a trend, sales engineers become more adept with sales methodologies, right? So there is this goal to become actually better at this than the AE itself or themselves, right? The AE joining your company, maybe coming from somewhere else, being there for 1 month, you should know your sales methodology better than the AE. You should own it. There's no other way to win the deal, right? Apart from the technical realm, right? That's on the trend side. That's really emerging. Sales engineers get much, much better on sales methodologies.
Yeah, and if we qualify better, we can ensure our productivity and win rates, right? So we must work more effective with efficiency.
And most of the time, we, the SCs, know all the account history, so we know what happens because the AEs are changing every time. So
exactly.
most of the time, the accounts are better known by us than the other AEs.
Yeah, and in some way you are a trainer to them too, right? Because SEs typically are more loyal, are longer in the organization. You know deeper the product, you know customers better, you know the market better. So you're kind of trainer teacher to the AE, right? So that's the importance for the partnership. Yeah. So to also say, okay, here's my value, right? I'm part of the deal. Yeah. Let us strategize together, right? I'm not carrying your bag into the next meeting. That's not my task, right? I'm here to partner with you and win the deal. And then there's number 3. And this is going back to your leadership, like Cleber, right? So there's a high demand for sales engineering professionals, right? Hiring pipelines are actually empty in most businesses or in most industries for sales engineers, right? So there is a huge pressure for leaders to create an environment so sales engineers can thrive, right? So that they love to be there. And it also means that leaders need to upgrade their skills, yeah, and shape an environment to keep people, right? To make it interesting to them so that they can grow, that they can learn, that they feel safe, that, right, all the things that they can be successful. Yeah. That's a big trend. So that's good for the individual contributor because it's easy for you to actually get a new job and maybe even get a salary raise, right? And it's also good or a challenge for leaders to show, okay, here I am, right? This is my team, this is my culture. And this leads to a discussion that's very often, that I see very often, that goes to the point, like, why is the culture of the sales engineering team good or bad? And this has to do if they have a seat at the table in the company, right? If leaders also have a say in the sales organization, right, and are partners to maybe the VP sales, whatever, then there is a better chance to create a culture that actually allows sales engineers to be good, to thrive, to be a partner to the AE, right? That's one point to the partnership question you sent me, Cleber, right? It's also what the leadership team does, and that sales engineering in its own has a seat at the table, right? Do you feel the same?
Yes. I think this is part of Cisco culture. That's my first contact with the sales engineering role, and I see a culture where the sales and the sales engineering team are strong together. The voices, we have an active voice. We are part of the strategy, and we really participate on the deals. Get opportunity to qualify, to participate in the deal process, and it's that's part of the culture.
Amazing. That's how it needs to be. So let me summarize because you asked me about career trends and what the future SE needs. So there are some points. I think it's about nine topics. Ask in between, otherwise I would just go through them. So first of and very importantly, discovery and qualification experts. That's what you need to be, and you just said it, right? So the better your qualification, the more productive you are, the better your outcomes, right? Also with discovery, never skip a step, never skip discovery, right? Building relationships with customers and prospects. And this is where I see a difficulty with, and maybe in some industries or with sales engineers. They think it's the AE's responsibility, right? But the AE can't build a relationship to a technical person who hates sales or hates us too much, right? But who says, I don't trust the sales guy. I know this guy will just sell something to me, right? So it's up to you to actually make this connection, yeah? And I know that a lot of sales engineers are introverts, so it's tough to take up the phone and to call somebody you don't know. And this is interestingly where social media comes in again, because an indirect communication can help, right? Connecting to somebody, chatting, maybe looking what they publish, right? Comment on their posts, right? And then go into a chat and ask for a Zoom session. Might take more time, but it's a good way for a sales engineer to get more connections and maybe broaden existing customers by reaching new organizations, right? In the customer. Right, but this is an important bit for future-proof sales engineers, especially in a crisis when you want to grow or keep existing customers. Right. So then there's the thought leader bit and the trusted advisor. Right. So customers expect this from us, right? Or I guess your customers want you to be thought leaders to get the best possible result. So, and this is interesting now, because thought leader and trusted advisor. It's tough to explain, but has a lot to do with that you have your own thoughts and that you crystallize your thoughts. And crystallizing your thoughts works best if you create assets. Like maybe you have a video on YouTube about a certain topic. Maybe you wrote a blog post, right? In some way, or an infographic, whatever fits your strength. It's important that you crystallize your ideas. Don't just leave it in your head. Take a pen, take a paper, and write the stuff down. Try to make it easy for somebody to read who doesn't understand your domain. If you achieve this, you know you can clearly articulate, and this will make you a thought leader. If you have weird thoughts, right? If you need to write something to a customer, an email is the first thing. How long do you wait before you send an email to a customer? Do you just write this down and hit send, or what's your strategy there?
Depends on the subject, let's say. If it's something problematic, I usually leave it, let it sleep for a night or something like that, and then I review it, and then if it's okay, I just send it. But for critical stuff, I always take some time. I try to never write and send, because it's a recipe for disaster sometimes.
It is, exactly. Because what you write in the first wave, so to say, is often very unclear, unprecise, right? Not specific enough, right? Not clear enough in the order of things. So, and this is what I mean here. Thought leader or trusted advisors, they can express themselves in a simple way, right? With clear thoughts, right? The clearer your thoughts, the better what you can express. But there's often this notion of, oh, if I don't speak in my language, that's very central to my domain, right? Like in abbreviations and your security stuff, right? And so if I don't speak that way, people will think I'm not a thought leader, right? But that's not true. They will just not understand what you have written, right? Or what you expressed. So the simpler, the more trusted, okay? It's a big point here. And then there's a point that I don't see very often with sales engineers, and this is making ethical decisions. And what I mean with this is, in some way, the power to decide whom you work with as a customer, right? Do you think about whom you work with? If they produce weapons, if they, I don't know, exploit people's water, right? So there are big organizations that actually do that. Or that they, I don't know, get... cut down our woods or whatever it is, right, in an irresponsible way, right? ethics are a big part of our job, so we can influence something, and we should never push this away to the not existing organization, right? Yeah, Cisco has their kind of whatever rules, ethical rules, and we just follow this, right? I don't believe this is enough, because as sales engineer, you have a lot of power and you represent your company, right, in every interaction. Yeah? So make sure that you are with yourself in agreement with whom you interact. Okay, and this leads to the responsibility principle, and this is just in general. I believe, let's put it that way. Tell me if this is not true for you, but I believe sales engineers are not typical employees. They typically don't have an employee mindset in the sense of, oh gosh, I'm in a slavery situation where I get paid for my time, right? Typically, there's a lot of passion, right? And there's responsibility. I take responsibility for what I do, and I don't feel like pushed to do that. And that's what I mean here. And responsibility in that sense also means I will close the deal. I will not only get the technical win, like in boxing, right? But what you do in boxing, if you want to hit somebody's nose, you don't aim on the nose, you aim behind, right? Here, so that you are sure you hit. Yes, close the technical win, right? But aim for the deal to close. Okay, that's the responsibility principle. Work with the AE to close the deal, not just to get the technical win. Okay, that's the point here. Living a growth mindset. Who has heard from a growth mindset, or do you also know the opposite of a growth mindset? Maybe. Who has heard about this?
Yeah, I read a book that has the two mindset. I don't recall the name of the second one, but one is the growth, and the other one is where you stay on your comfort zone. But
Fixed mindset, yeah.
No, the fixed mindset. That's correct.
Genau is German. Exactly. Exactly the point. So, in growth mindset here means, so it's easier explained when you know what a fixed mindset is. And fixed mindset means you believe is that your talents are born with you. So you're born with your talents, right? You can't change anything about this. And whenever you do a mistake or failure happens, you're completely devastated. You hate this, right? It kills your motivation. Whereas the growth mindset, motivation grows with failures. And you believe in traits and talents can be developed, right? There are certain aspects you need, like a good mentor, you need the right environment, the right material, the good strategies, right? There are some things you need so that you can develop talent, but it's possible. And this is what a growth mindset means. And why do I say this? Because there are sales engineers who don't believe that they should do sales, or that they don't understand sales, right? That's not good. Same with psychology, same with social media. Develop a growth mindset. Accept that there are new things you can learn, right? Playing to win, yeah, that's again the boxing analogy, right? Hit behind the nose to win. Being a part of the sales engineering community, please look out there. There's a huge community establishing. A lot of people discussing how sales engineering should work or works, what their problems are. They help each other in every situation, right? A lot of borders are down in terms of competition. I remember when we started like 4 or 5 years ago, you wouldn't dare to go to another sales engineer from a competitive company and talk to them, right? Oh no, we would share secrets. That's gone. In some way, of course, you don't share your secrets, right? Or your competitive edge or whatever, but you help each other, right? And you are aware who is out there. And that also helps you to understand whom you're up to in deals, for example. Knowing sales methodologies, we discussed this already, and building your brand, we discussed this, okay? That would be the topics that I think future-proof SEs need. Do you see something missing, or do you think something is wrong there? You completely disagree?
Normally, hey, Patrick. Normally you try to develop or identify something, being part of a sales engineer community. How you understand that you need to develop something or any skill? I mean, in order to grow as a sales engineer, I mean, how you identify that you need to develop something? I mean, by taking feedbacks or at this sales engineer community, what you ho- how you find your own weakness and
Mhm.
how you understand this could be a weakness and try to improve.
I think it's more learning or watching what other people's experiences is. So sales engineers share, like, oh, I met this customer and they said this and this. How should I react? Or how should I have reacted, right? So that you can see, okay, what I would do in this situation. Maybe you have an information or you had a similar situation where you found a good way, right? So share it. Otherwise, you learn from what might happen to you, or often it's shared like a process that sales engineers work through, or new demo skill or trick, right? So this is what is offered there. So it gives you an edge above everybody else who doesn't or isn't part of the community, right? You will always be updated with the newest information, I would say.
So thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Patrick, just a
Yeah.
comment from the previous slides. I see all those topics that you brought to the screen were amazing and are really part of our day to day and in preparation also for the future. And I have seen the first one is a curiosity here because I have seen some SEs that has the curiosity to become or to act in a sales position as an account manager, for example, because they know the customers, they know the sales process, and they just need to learn more about how to discover, how to generate pipeline, and have a better qualification of the opportunity. Certainly, there is a conflict. Uh, Even though they have this curiosity about how to become account manager, they are passionate by technology and they are passionate about what they do. So do you see the sales engineering getting more close to the account managers? And I think you mentioned that, right? Understanding much more about the sales process and taking the lead sometimes.
Yes, that's true, and you're really right, and it's cool to become an AE. But my question to you would be: is there sometimes this notion where you say, "Why do we need AEs after all?"
Yeah, sometimes I listen to that.
So my question to you is: how often do you watch AEs from end to end doing their job?
No,
What do
yeah,
you think? Why are they there? What is their struggle? What is their reason for existence?
Someone has to deal with the paperwork inside the organizations and approving prices and pushing the deal. Let's say selling the deal inside the organization. This is what I see happening most of the times. The AEs need to justify why this deal need to be sold at this price and all that contract stuff and paper going from side to side. So this is where I see most of the AEs spending their times here.
Mhm. And would you want to do this?
No way. No way. Not me, at least.
Yeah.
that's
There's a big thing that AEs take, and this is rejection. They take so many rejection. Most SEs wouldn't want this at all. If you're happy with rejection, fine, right? So there are several deals they have in their pipeline, right? And most of them will say, I don't want you. And then there's the one or two that they want. And then the sales engineer comes and says, hey, I'm sorry, you need to qualify this, right? How would you feel? It's amazing what they take on, right? I just want to keep this for you in mind. I know every sales engineering team says this. AEs and there's such a pain to work with, right? And stuff like this. Why are they there at all, right? They're just managing a prospect and get the biggest portion of the deal and stuff like this, right? So they're money driven, right? They take the pressure from internal and external. Just to make you aware of this. So yeah, become AEs. I think this is it's an amazing route to go, especially if you want to earn a lot of money, but you need to take the stress, right? Yeah. And if you have been an SE, it might be even challenging because you know the limitations of your product. And then you're in this like conflict, oh gosh. But you need to go forward and sell a vision, right? Instead of maybe being the conscious of the deal or of the team. And I don't know. I never tried it, but I could imagine it's both. It's very rewarding and sets you up for a big career, but it also could hinder you because you know so much. Yeah, you might put a limit in your brain of feasibility or visionary approach. Right.
Yeah, you mentioned about rejection. I had a conversation this week with an account manager, and we were planning a pipeline generation, and knowing that we could have it was not that case, but we could have, for example, a conversion rate of 2% on a pipeline generation. That account manager should touch at least 100 customers to bring to a better and profound discussion. So yeah, you will be rejected by 98 before you bring 2 of them for a conversion rate, right? Yeah. And you need to have a good resilience. Good, perfect. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries. It should be a conversation. I'm just going forward a bit here in my deck. So, and there's one point about social media. Who knows what this is? Can you?
Black Swan.
Pardon?
Black Swan.
Yes. Yes. A black swan. Do you know what a black swan, apart from the animal, means?
Yeah, something strange or something very very odd, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So some unexpected or unforeseeable event that changes everything, right? So there is a book from Nassim Taleb who wrote about the black swan, so unpredictability and uncertainness, and it's very rewarding read. And there's also a notion of so there are negative black swans, right? So things that really stock crash, right? So something like this you couldn't foresee. But there are also positive black swans. A normal black swan means you have limited upside, right? But unlimited downside, right? So the loss is unlimited. Like if you're into option trading, right? And then you sell options, for example, you could have unlimited loss, right? Just gets on. Or with stocks is limited, right? Because at some point 0 is 0, but things where you can lose more, even your life or whatever. This is the black swan. The positive black swan is the other way around. You have unlimited upside and limited downside. So why I say this, because I want to compare this with maybe your job, right? So the black swan of the job is, said otherwise, a normal job means you have limited upside, right? You can become the CEO of your company, okay, but you can't go much higher, right? That's your employment, right? You can reach the CTO, CIO, whatever. Downside is very unlimited. You can get fired, you can get sued, everything can happen, right? Pretty amazing when you think about this. So, but how do we, and this is what the author of the book says, we should find ways to work in a positive black swan way with unlimited upside. And that's how I want to weave in social media for you. Because social media has unlimited upside. You can build your network. You can find new opportunities, you hone new skills, right? You might find new ways to approach things. It's unlimited what can happen if you start being out there, okay? So if you merge this, you actually you mitigate a bit of the risk of the pure black swan, just in quotes, just being employed, right? So think about this. Employment, limited upside. Social media, unlimited. Merging both, good, right? Find a way to weave unlimited upsides in, right? That's what I want you to give here at this point.
If I may add practical examples also, for example, if you are exposed, if you are recognized as a reference in that particular subject matter, you can be invited to become a professor, to become an entrepreneur with a new partner, to become a board member, many things. The sky is the limit, so you have no limits, right? So that's why it is important. You're exposing, you become a reference, and then you receive invitation for many other things. We are not talking about employment, receive invitation from the competitor only. We can open for possibilities. That's the way that I found the opportunity to become professional board member, this kind of thing, because you're exposed, you contact people, and that's it. That's the benefit.
Yeah, and they will ask you for partnerships if it's for a podcast or if it's for a post. If it doesn't need to be the advisory board at Cisco, right, or at whatever US company out there. But it might be smaller things that give you something fresh in your life, some different perspective, right? Yeah, but very good. Exactly, that's what it means. So, and there's one point that I often discuss. So that means if we want to be visible, so we need to publish or post regularly, we need to create content regularly. Doesn't that mean we need to be creative geniuses, right? And isn't creativity something God-given? And I would leave the question with you. What do you think? Is creativity God-given?
Can you develop that?
I think it's a matter of exercising it.
Yeah, I agree
You
with
won't hit the spot all the times, but everybody is able to come up with something or create something. I think it's more training and practice and habit than everything else.
Okay.
Like we learned to be sales engineers. I think most of us here came from the, let's say, from the mostly technical side, architectures and coders and everything else. We just learned to sell. So it's kind of I think with creativity, it's like the same. It's just practice. You need to expose yourself to and say, hey, I need to practice this stuff and be able to and be prepared to be wrong or to let's say, for example, to write something that you go back a year and say, hey, that's crap, but I just wrote it.
Yeah. And what happens if you do it regularly, if you write regularly? What happens?
you will develop the skill, right?
The routine.
You get better.
The routine. Exactly. And with the routine and writing, what you also develop is, again, you crystallize your thoughts. So if you're in front of clients, no question will catch you in the act in that sense, right? So you will be crystal clear, precise on your message, even more precise than you are now, right? Because you trained your brain to be clear and precise.
Yeah.
And
yeah. If you have to write something, you have to think what are you writing, because you need to be clear. So if you are after that, you are in front of the customer, you know what to say, because we did it before so clear. We need to study.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very true. There is a saying, right? If you want to master a topic, write a book about it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty precise. Yeah. Because otherwise you can't get the clearness. Right? So, and you're right, Leonardo. Creativity comes from consistency, and then what hits in is serendipity. Have you heard about this term, serendipity?
Not sure.
I've heard, but the concept is always escapes me. There's,
So
there's also
serendipity
a
is-
film about this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very complicated word for something very easy. You do something and something happens by accident where you get an insight.
Yeah, it's like an eureka, right? Eureka.
Like what?
Eureka.
It's an eureka moment.
Eureka. Eureka.
Ah,
right?
eureka moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you said
So-
it's kind of.
Failed experiments lead to serendipity, so, like the way antibiotics got found, right? That's serendipity. You work on something maybe fails, and you think, well, it was a failure, right? In any way. But then you realize, oh gosh, something just happened. And serendipity happens a lot. And I will show you what my serendipity moment was. I told you about the map, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told you I'm writing fiction novels in German. So this is one, The Son of the Orc Shaman, right? That's one book I wrote, or I finished beginning of this year, published beginning of this year. And for this book, I needed to create a map, right? You see this small fantasy map here? And while I did this, I had on the next day a presentation on pre-sales tools. I was to present about what's new in the market, what tools and how can they be combined and stuff like this. And I was working on this map and I thought, what I have there as a presentation is pretty boring. So I thought, why don't I just put this stuff on the same fantasy kind of map, right? And this is how it started. And that's serendipity, right? Because you continuously work on stuff, right? Maybe not only on your business, but work with your hobbies, be out there, right? Do the things you enjoy also. But if you write, if you create, if you know you need to create, for example, every day or every week, whatever, your brain is always scanning your environment for, okay, what's worth, right? How can I connect? How can I join? How can I merge? Your brain will do this, but you need to get into this consistent habit. It's very important. So when you write, you will always have ideas. That's the counterintuitive thing. Most people say, oh, I need to wait until I get this inspiration, right? From somewhere above. It won't come. It only comes if you sit there every day at the same spot and you write or create, right? And the muse will come this one day. But you need to sit there, because if she comes and you're not there, then, yeah, and she will come. Not every day.
When I'm sorry, but when you decide to write the book, I mean, from nowhere, just I know this is something that you like, but I mean, start something that you like, we have a huge difference, right? I mean, I like, but I'm not sure if I like to write a book. I mean, how this insight came and when you decide to write a book.
It starts with smaller articles, right? And I wrote, I think, 3 or 4 books before the Social Sales Engineer that I took them off Amazon again. They are smaller books. They're not the quality anymore that I want the books to be that I sell. I think they're still good in the way I wrote them at this time, but I give them away for free now. But it's a journey. You need to start, just do it. And I know I spoke to Don Carmichael about the topic. So the Social Sales Engineer is also, it happened with Don Carmichael. I meet him every 4 weeks and we discuss topics. And I asked him if he should co-write a book. And he said, yeah, let's do this on the social stuff. But he isn't a writer, so he tried to get some words out every day, but he couldn't find his cadence. So I wrote it at the end, and I said, okay, just do the foreword. And we consulted each other on some of the topics and stuff like this. But yeah, it's really the consistency. It has nothing to do with super big insights. The insights come with the book, with the writing, with the rewriting. So the most important aspect is the edit, like Leonardo with your email, right? Wait for the night. It's very important. Wait. Give your brain time to read this fresh as if you hadn't written this, right? It's very important. But there's
And
no...
it is also valid for not only for writing, but also for showing up in the screen and creating or running a podcast or video, running a conversation, right? You need to practice. You know that the initial content will not be the best content of your life, but you will get better and better creating content, right?
Yes. And today we have a huge opportunity or a huge advantage against like Dostoevsky, right? The great Russian writer. He didn't have social media, so he couldn't just offer a short story to somebody and see how it resonates. We can do this today. We get all data. Right? Do a Medium post, do a LinkedIn post, go on YouTube, have your video there. You will see if stuff resonates or not, right? And if it does, follow the path, right? Writers from the past didn't have this. You have a huge opportunity here. Now I have some data also that we can look into. Let me go there. Maybe it's a good thing to do. And that's what I need to ask you. So this is, for example, how to survive and master the economic crisis as a sales engineer. Huge topic for me. 12,000 impressions on LinkedIn. That's really good for me. Really good. That's nearly 3 times my followers, right? Really, really good. So keep going, publish with your voice, build your brand. That's the key message here, because this was not possible with the first posts I did, right? Stats, you see what I get from my LinkedIn, and that's also very important. If you look at the post sections, right, it's minus 63%. So this year I published only 173 posts. The year before, I had 470, okay? But if you look at the likes, if you look at the engagement rate, right? If you look at the views, at the shares, the comments, there's a bit of a minus, of course. But every post got better in quality. That really shows that, right? A lot, so half of the post less, but the same results in that sense, even a bit better.
Less content, more engagement.
Exactly. Better quality. That's how you grow. Yeah. So you learn, you change, right? And this is how it needs to look like, right? It's a good result for me. And this is also how this is Medium now. This is my Medium board for this month. And you see, I have 2 posts. This is the beginning of December, right? That's the 137. It's two days old. It's a good post, and people like it, but it doesn't get the attraction of what I showed you before, right? How to master the crisis. The crisis bit got 1,400 views on Medium, which is very, very good, for me at least, as it's a very unknown writer in a very small niche, right? Okay, and then you see the books. With the book, a very good result for me too. This is 570 sales here, not including the audiobook, but this is what went over the counter, right? Over a year. That's pretty good, right? I'm very proud of this one. Yeah, nothing else to say here actually, right? So I'm very happy for every reader, and I really honor you that you took the time to read the book, right? So, but what I wanted to give you is the insights, right? You can see what happens. You can see it has to do something maybe with the season. Summer was very flat. Not sure why. Not sure why January was so high. I need to figure out, but it's a tough business, right? In that sense, too. Amazon doesn't give me a lot of data here. But there are things that happened, and those things are great, right? This is the John Kerr, right? So the very famous person, he read my book. He made a post about this. This post had 230 likes, right? That's also visibility. You rank quite high on Amazon, right? And there are other things that just came in yesterday night. A person called Lucas Jarman, from Palo Alto Networks, that's where he works, and he said, "Hey guy, I read your book, and now I made a post," and that was really good post. He had over 170 likes. He made a video, and marketing now wants to turn that into a dedicated series. Very happy, check it out. Really, really good. And then Carlos, he's from Google, head of customer engineering at Google. Same thing here. Said he read my book, and that's amazing to read something like this. So don't aim for that praise, right? That doesn't work. If you only start writing to get this praise, forget it. But allowing it to come in, right? Do your job to consistently work on this, then it will come, right? I'm pretty sure, because then you When you write for your reader, not for the praise, but to give them something, the praise will come. And that's something I needed to learn too, right? And that's the thing I want to give you, right? Don't do it for you first. Give your best, and then accept whatever happens. It might be bad comments, but it also might be the praise, and you changed my life, or you changed my day, or whatever it is, right? I think that's highly important. Okay, and what I do with other customers here is the 3 Diamonds course, right? So I have a course, and here's one example of one person. He put out this post during my course. So 3 Diamonds means we will work on the social media landing page of sales engineers. I only do this with sales engineers, and it takes us 8 weeks. And in those 8 weeks, we will create 3 shining assets, right? We will find your niche, what to write about, and we will raise your perceived competence. That means you will have a landing page at the end that has 3 assets that are provocative, that are high quality, that represent your niche that you want to write in. And this is the trick, I think, that offers AEs a way to make you known to prospects before you have met them. That's the trick, actually. So it's not about that you reach 10,000 followers. I want your AE to be able, before the discovery call, they say, okay, next week, I don't know, Rafael is coming, right? Or Fernando is coming. Here is their LinkedIn page. Look up what they've written about this topic, right? Make yourself comfortable with them. You will see they have visited your profile, you can connect, you can chat, and you have a warm call, right? The opposite would be calling them, phoning, emailing, or getting into the discovery call, and you need 15 minutes to set the rapport, to get used to each other, right? All those weird things, right? It makes things easier. And one thing from my life is this, and I want to ask you, who is your Kai? And this is the last thing I want to mention today or discuss with you. This is Kai Wehner, and I worked for MuleSoft in the past, right? ESB, middleware, that's what I did. And he worked for TIBCO when I worked for MuleSoft in 2014. And it was awful because this guy in this time already had about 5,000 or 10,000 followers. I don't know. I didn't even know LinkedIn, right? And he was already the international speaker and stuff like this. This is eight years ago, yeah? And I now realize he was in a lot of deals with me that we lost. We were very small, TIBCO was big, all good, right? But I think it had also a lot to do with customers looking at his profile and mine. What happens if you're in a room, or if the RFP presentation after you is led by this guy, right? From a customer's perspective. They see this thought leader, or this guy will come, 5,000 followers, international speaker, right? Very famous because he writes blog posts about enterprise application integration patterns. All good stuff. And then there comes Patrick. Okay, he worked at IBM before. That's what we know, right? Do you get the point? And I want you to find out who is your Kai. Who is at your competitors? I heard Datadog, Dynatrace, right? All those companies. Look up their sales engineers and see if there's a Kai. And if you shouldn't, like, set up yourself in a more thought-leading way, right? So does anybody of you has a Kai? Who's your Kai? Anybody? Do you have one? Yeah?
So
Name me your Kai. Who's your Kai? How does the profile look like?
can you name it?
Yeah, let me find out.
I have one in common with Rafael, I think, just as a comment, called Professor Marostica. That guy's amazing. So he's really an inspiration. Professor Eduardo Marostica from FGV Brazil. It is amazing. That guy is a showman.
I don't agree too
So
much.
I name it mine. You know him?
I know him. He was my teacher as well. But
Can't hear
I
you,
can
Pablo.
say,
Pablo,
yeah.
we can't hear you.
Really? No?
Now we can
Now
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Okay. He's a great outdoor ad. but he misses a little bit of the core.
Okay.
I think he's a great bubble.
Okay. Yeah. He talks a lot, right?
He advertises a lot, but I think he puts too much fuzz into things that are even outdated.
Okay. Good.
So it's
But
actually
he-
time for
again-
you to publish the not outdated stuff, right?
I mean, he's a marketing guy. He's a teacher on marketing. Okay, but nowadays I know too much about marketing, which there are many things that bust to in a very, very short time.
Yeah.
They're true today, but tomorrow they're busted. So I think there are things you have to be careful. And even him, one of the things he says, he as being a marketing guy says, the engineers, they are taking marketing because we have the numbers in behind. And that's what at the end sells. You only can sell marketing if you have the numbers.
Yeah, true. And is there another sales engineer from a competitor where you say, this guy, if the customer looks at my profile and his or her profile, I'm doomed. I will be set up in a different light, right? So high profile, low profile. Anything like this that happens? It's worth the research, right? Because there's something called perceived competence. Perceived competence is what your prospect sees when they look at your profiles, right? Is your perceived competence high or low? Especially when they can compare this with a competitive sales engineer, right? Or a sales engineer from the competition.
This is exactly the relation that I made at the first question. I think find a Kai could be a way to measure not your weakness, but your, I mean, some competence that it is important for your role or for your profile or this is a good reflection. I mean, good.
Cool, nice. That's very good.
What
Who
else?
of you would say you want to like establish a profile or more assets on social media? And maybe you say, I don't know how, or no idea really where my niche is, or any thoughts on that? Do you try? Have you tried maybe? And you said you failed, or?
Patrick, to what you said about a role, maybe a role model, a guy that actually worked with me. I'm looking at his profile right now. He has more or less the same number of followers that I have. So we're pretty low, obviously, compared to Cleber, which has 11,000. So yeah, it can say a little bit.
That's a good sign, actually. Yeah. So you're on the right
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Can you set yourself apart still?
Do
I think
want
we,
to? That's another question. Do I want to?
oh yeah, that's it. That is a good question. And the other thing, I think we have a kind of barrier where most of us feel ashamed of publishing a content that could not be relevant. I read that on your book also, because we are afraid to be judged by someone else. So instead of publishing, I would say, oh, I would like to publish this. No. What people will think of me if I do this? I'm not sure, so I will not publish anything. So this is something that we must improve. And the perfect will not arrive. So it is better to try many times than try to have a perfect content and never publish it, right?
Yeah. And believe me, so I've worked with many sales engineers on exactly this already, and they always tell the same thing, like the same things you just shared, Cleber. But it's all fairy dust in your mind. Your mind is telling you something that's not true because you haven't experienced it, right? So most sales engineers that really publish or dare to publish something, the first time, even maybe repeat it, or they might feel I'm reiterating on something, are very successful with this, right? They get great feedback. They get contacted by people they don't know. They get contacted by other clients or by older colleagues, right, from other companies. It's always fulfilling for them in that sense. Yeah. That's what I can tell you, right? Your fear of something like not relevant or what might other people think is not real. it's like based on something. It's a fear of the fear, right? In some way.
And Patrick, can you have some words about the power of the community? Community of sales engineers, a community of cybersecurity, a community of site reliability engineers, community of interest. What do you have some words on the power and the importance of a community nowadays?
That's an interesting question, but I believe that you can you can make yourself even more powerful. And I can't give an example from cybersecurity. I know Damien, I don't know his last name, but he's also building a cybersecurity community for sales engineers. I can look this up and send you, Cleber.
Okay.
He's doing that, and I spoke to him. And the community of sales engineers, at least, you can reach out to anybody and ask, hey, can we have a Zoom chat on a certain topic? They will say yes. They will support you. They will be there. Another example is, and I was blown away by this, I write a new book about sales engineering leadership. So when you join from sales engineer to leadership, and I ask for beta readers, I get 70 applications, 70 people, 70. Some posts of mine don't have 70 likes, right? But there were 70 sales engineers that want to beta read a book about 300 pages. That's several hours of investment to give me feedback. So the power of community means your skills, your power is up-leveled, right, by multiple times. What you can achieve will be multiplied in every realm. That especially in knowledge communities, like you want to build cybersecurity, site reliability, right? Your ideas will merge, right? You will achieve more together and solve different problems, maybe more complex problems than you could solve alone, right?
Perfect.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Perfect. Any other considerations? We are almost reaching the time. Team, do you have more questions to Patrick? Anything you want to share? No?
I have a quick one based on his previous experience. When you were starting your journey on writing, I understood you were also working on your, let's say, your day-to-day job on MuleSoft. So you were doing two important and time-consuming activities at the same time, right? So my question is, how was your time managing during this period? What did you do? Did you have some sponsorship on your organization so you could invest your time on your social skills, or you did it on your off time? How was that for you?
Vacations.
Writing is a consistency thing. So you need to do it every day. And you don't say you need to publish every day, but you need to write every day. During MuleSoft, I didn't do much of this. I published only a bit, right? All this knowledge that I have now came afterwards with a lot of working with other sales engineers. But what we worked out is the time management that allows you with maybe half an hour in the morning to gather ideas and 200 words per day. And that's the point. Give yourself a quota. Let's give yourself 200 words per day, right? And then write 200 words every day. Then you skip. You just skip. If you reach 200, you skip, but you need to reach them. It can be 10 minutes one day, another day it's maybe 30 minutes, right? Depends on your, but this is exactly where the muse will come. And this is the only thing I can give you. So I discovered this later because I wanted to write fiction. I got an editor. The editor says, what you write here is not German at all. Try to write something else. Then I wrote nonfiction. That was a very complicated thing to get there. But if I could have gotten help, and I got help very late in my journey, it would be better to get them early, right? To get help on how do I set up my writing habits, how do I find my niche, how do I get into the topic. I think help, mentorship, a writing buddy in this sense makes things easier, and you get this, like going to the gym or something, right? If you have somebody else who's there waiting for you, better for you because you will go, right? The same as with writing. Hey, Leonardo, did you write your 200 words today? If somebody's asking you this every day, okay, I'll get to it, right?
Hey Patrick, did you imagine when you start to write your book that in a few years you will talk with some Brazilian guys that read your book? I mean, and give some insights. How do you feel about this?
Oh man, this is absolutely scary. This is when you put something out, this is scary, and it doesn't go away because you put your soul out in some way, right? Because it's all your opinion, it's your style, and bad comments are bad. You need to work with your resilience with this, and it's absolutely fulfilling now to be here and talk about this, right? But you can't imagine this, right? You can't, and I'm already afraid of the next book because what beta readers will say and stuff. No, I don't know what will come, but that's the nice thing. It's a positive black swan, right? Everything can happen. The upside is unlimited. And that's with every of your assets. Think about this. An asset, like a book or a post, is working for you while you sleep also. It's paying you dividends. You don't do anything, but it's available to everybody out there to consume it and to give you feedback. And that, believe me, that works. And the more assets you build, the more dividends, right? Link those assets and people will find more and more of your stuff. More and more will be useful. So build your library of assets, right?
Perfect. Where where we can find more about what are you doing, the trainings you have, so any website, go to Amazon, go to some other places.
Yeah, so the website is saleshero.training, or on LinkedIn. There's a link to this website. So everything is there. Yeah, and I have two basic trainings. The first is the hero's journey. That's 12 weeks. 12 weeks course. That's that one here, the end somewhere. So that has this 12 missions where we talk about key principles of sales engineering. We talk about creative selling, storytelling. We talk about objection handling, right? Desk research, engagement plans, all those kind of things. And then includes weekly one-to-ones with each of the participants. So we have half an hour together every week to talk about your development, your issues, right? We will make a plan on how you can grow stronger, and you have the topics, right? That's the first, and the other I just shared before. It's the 3 diamonds up here. That's the other thing I do, right? The second training, the second big one. I have more, of course, but those are the key trainings that I offer. Yeah. And on LinkedIn is my landing page for everything. So find me there. And my writings and blog posts, everything is there.
Okay, perfect. So any other question, team? Because we go to the prize, we go to the award. Any other question?
I have a question. We know that writers are also readers. So what do you read for to get inspiration, to get entertained, and yeah?
very inspirational was a Total Recall from Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's his biography, right? That was amazing. I read about how CRISPR came into the world. So that's biochemistry about gene editing. That's from Walter Isaacson, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot about sales, about quantum physics. I read a lot. Stories like sales, selling stuff a lot. Psychology. I read a lot, like mindset. What you have also read, Cleber. It's all those areas. So, and of course, I read what other sales engineering leaders write. So John Kerr, Chris White. So I know all their works. But there's so many interesting stuff from biology and physics and mathematics and biographies. I love them. From Leonardo da Vinci to the mathematicians of the past, right? So that's all very inspiring. If you read this book and you're a content creator, you will always find themes.
Yes,
You find
absolutely.
themes you can write about always. But you need to have this creation mindset. Otherwise, you will just read it and you don't know how to apply it because there's nothing to apply, right? If you create assets, you will always have something to apply, and then the book sticks better. For me, it sticks better what I've read if I create something out of it, right? In that sense.
Yeah, weeks ago, I spoke with Carlos, who was reading about the influence of the brain in our stomach or digestion system. I said, why are you reading this? And he used to read some also books. Perfect.
Read as wide as you can, and if you want to write, read about writing. There are a lot of writing help books, support books, so books that give you indications of how to write, what's the best way to shape a story, what words to use, stuff like this. Definitely read this. It's very valuable for your writing skills.
Thank you.
Good. We are reaching to the end of this session. Before I thank Patrick, I just want to say that we had a kind of vote system here in our WebEx space for the FT SEs, and we decided that Pablo will be the one that will receive the prize, the book, because he was the one that is outside the FD organization with active participation. So Pablo, we will ask you for your address, and you will receive something at home.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm very surprised and flattered.
Yeah, and the other SEs here from Latin will also receive something that they already know by the end of the year. We usually do that. So thank you so much, Pablo. I will ask your address in the WebEx chat, okay?
Sure.
Good. So Patrick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate this session. I appreciate your time with our team. We will make ourselves available also if you need anything. And I wish you success in everything you do. It was a very good learning session for us. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Likewise. So all good holidays, happy holidays. Lots of presents, good new year, and thanks for inviting me. Let's do this again. If you have any topic, I'm happy to come.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. Cheers.